They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again while expecting different results. Well, for me, that sounds like the definition of living with ADHD. Every single morning I used to wake up and think, today I will be productive. Today will be the day I will have my shit together. Today, I'll be different. And then one morning I woke up and I realized I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to talk to myself like this anymore. Welcome back to Rebel with a Plan. I am Dakota Rebel, and I have ADHD. Today I'm going to be sharing 7 important lessons that I have learned about the way that my brain is wired. This video is not going to be one of those motivational bullshit videos about overcoming ADHD or beating ADHD or fighting ADHD. This is about embracing my inner goblins and learning to work with them, not against them. And I just hope that maybe this can help you if you're someone like me who struggles against their own brain chemistry to maybe find a little inner peace. Lesson number 1, ADHD needs a why. Here's the first thing that you need to understand about ADHD. It doesn't respond to you because I said so. ADHD is like a stubborn toddler. If there is no clear why, then my brain is like, nah, dog, I'm out. For example, if I'm cleaning my house just because it's messy, my brain's like, okay, but it's been messy for 3 days. What's the sudden rush now? But if I suddenly decide that I want to have friends over, boom, my house looks like a Pinterest board in 2 hours. Why? Because ADHD loves a why. It loves urgency and excitement and the threat of social embarrassment. So I stop fighting it. I give my brain a why for everything now. If I need to fold laundry, I am putting on a true crime podcast and I am investigating right along with them. Lesson number 2, ADHD loves shiny new things. ADHD is a magpie. If it's new, if it's shiny, if it's slightly chaotic, I am all in. This used to drive me crazy. I would start projects with the enthusiasm of someone who just discovered hobbies were even a thing. But as soon as the novelty wore off, it's like that thing never existed, except for all the crap that I bought to do that hobby. Because that stuff was still all over my house. So now, instead of battling this tendency I have, I just lean into it. If I'm working on a book and I get bored, I move on to organizing my closet, one hanger at a time. Because if I try to take on too much and I get bored with that, then I got a pile of crap on my bed. So I try to rein it in a little bit and we just do small little chunks of whatever we want to work on next. And by the end of the day, I may not have finished anything, but I got progress on everything. And that is a win. That is a win, my friend. Lesson number 3, structure without stiffness. Structure and ADHD have a complicated relationship. Too much structure and my brain is like, nope, too controlling. But no structure at all and my brain is like, woohoo, anarchy. So I've adopted what I call flexible structure. I give myself a skeleton outline of the day, just enough to know what's happening, but not so much that it feels suffocating. For example, if I have to answer YouTube comments, I'll say, okay, from 10 to 11, I'm going to work on comments. But I don't say every comment. That way I'm getting stuff done, but I'm not forcing myself to respond to maybe not so nice ones. Again, it's all progress over perfection. Lesson number 4, dopamine is the boss. By now, everyone's familiar with my personal dopamine goblin, as well as its less than helpful tendencies. If something is boring, I cannot force myself to care about it. That's not laziness, by the way. That's science. So if this one hits a little close to home for you, please remember that willpower is not tied to morality. What I've done to ease some of this pressure is I've become my own dopamine dealer. I sprinkle little hits of dopamine throughout my day. I'll reward myself for finishing tasks with something fun, like snacks. My dopamine gremlin loves the snacks. I also gamify as much of my life as possible. If I need to clear off my desk, I am setting a timer, and the faster I can get it done, the more points I get, and the more Cheez-Its I get to stuff in my mouth. Lesson number 5, accept the chaos. Here's the truth. ADHD is messy. It's chaotic. It's forgetting your coffee in the microwave 3 days in a row and constantly having to pour yourself another cup. But instead of beating myself up for the chaos, I just accept it. My brain isn't wired like everyone else's, and that's okay. Sure, my life might look like a constant game of catch-up, but it's also creative and spontaneous and fun. Honestly, I wouldn't trade that for a normal brain. Normal's boring, and we don't do boring. Lesson number 6, deadlines are our frenemies. Deadlines and ADHD have a love-hate relationship. On one hand, nothing kicks my butt in gear like a due date. On the other hand, if that due date is too far away, it's like it doesn't even exist in my head. We don't have to think about that now. That's forever away. So, to make deadlines work for me, I lie to myself. I lie to my gremlin. If something is due on Friday, I tell my brain it's due on Wednesday. Because here's a fun fact: your brain does not know the difference between reality and fiction. You can tell it things, and it makes it true. It makes it look for ways to make it true. There's a ton of science behind this, and I'm not a scientist. But I do have ADHD and an internet connection, so I know a little bit about a lot of stuff. So, kind of like changing the clocks on New Year's Eve to make your toddler think it's midnight, just change your due dates in your head. Tell yourself it's due sooner, and you'll get it done. Lesson number 7, ADHD loves a good story. I don't know if this is exclusive to my ADHD brain or if everyone is like this, because as an author, I'm constantly creating stories in my head anyway. So I don't know what has to do with my brain chemistry and what has to do with, well, I guess it's all brain chemistry, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. If a task doesn't have a story, I struggle with it. Kind of like if it doesn't have a why. I struggle, okay? I'm not alone. I know this. So I just make up stories in my head. I make myself the main character of, I don't know, whatever I'm doing. I lost the thread. So I just have to create stories about the things that I'm doing and turn them into something more exciting and more fun. Like my no spend. I'm not doomed to no shopping and boredom. I am on an adventure with all of you, and our quest is to use the things that we have. That's a story that we made up, but it makes it fun instead of daunting, you know? So, yeah, for my brain, all of these are for my brain. Making up stories about the things that I'm doing helps me get them done. So, yeah, living with ADHD is a handful. It's like having a roommate that never shuts the freaking cupboards, but man, they throw a great party. And honestly, once I stopped trying to fight it and just embraced it, life got a whole lot easier and a hell of a lot funnier. So if you're watching this and you have ADHD or you think you might have ADHD, just remember your brain isn't broken. We're just wired differently. So embrace the chaos. Find your whys. Find your rewards and your treats and your snacks for your little dopamine goblin. And please don't ever forget that your self-worth is never tied to your productivity. You're doing great, even if your houseplants are dying. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that maybe I made you feel a little better about the way you deal with your ADHD. Maybe you think, well, at least I'm not as crazy as Dakota. And I'll own that. I love you so much. I'm so glad that you're here. Please smash all the Youtubey buttons for me, and I will see you next time. I love you. Bye.